everyone! Today I'm here with my September wrap-up. I didn't have a September TBR, so I didn't know what I'll end up reading, and I think that's good because the books that I had in mind that I was going to read in September, I didn't read them. I read something completely different. So let's get started with the books. I read 6 books in the month of September. The first one was The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I listened to it as an audiobook, and it is basically about the time machine and the experience with it. I don't have much to say about this book because it wasn't anything special, to be honest. I thought it would be a little bit more interesting. I don't know if that's because it's kind of a classic sort of thing. Was written in the 20th century, I believe. It wasn't that engaging, it wasn't that interesting, and I thought it could have been done a little bit better. I don't know. I gave this book 3 stars. It still was, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything special. Another book that I tried to listen to, but I DNF'd it. I'm not sure why. It is another book by H.G. Wells, and it is called In the Days of the Comet. And I thought the concept was really interesting. I started listening to it, but I couldn't get through it. I don't know what happened. I think I just needed a break from listening to an audiobook. Sometimes that happens to me. After finishing one audiobook, I don't want to go straight into another one. I need a break from it so that the next one I'll be listening to, I'll be paying a lot more attention. This one though, I don't know, it wasn't engaging for the first couple of chapters or so. I don't remember how far I got into the book before I DNF'd it. I don't think that was the problem with the book actually. I think if I read it physically I would have enjoyed it more, but I mean I didn't get far into the book. But yeah, I couldn't get into it and I just decided not to finish it at all. So maybe one day I'll pick it up again and listen to it properly. Another book that I listened to was a children's book, so I decided to listen something very short, and it took me a day to finish it, and by day I mean I think I was cooking or cleaning or something like that, and whilst doing that I finished listening to that audiobook because it was really short, an hour and a half or something like that. I can't really remember, it might have been longer than that. Anyway, it is called The Adventures of Tommy Postoffice, The True Story of a Cat by Gabrielle E. Jackson. I don't know if that's a classic book, I think it kind of is. And I found it really cute. It is basically about the adventures of a cat who lived in the post office and how people go on with him and things like that. It was quite cute and quite enjoyable. I think children would really like this book. I liked the book. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't anything too special again. It was just a normal, nice read about a cat. I love books about cats. So the next book that I read was my first ever random book, and that was called The First Book of Calamity League by Paula Lichterovich. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I don't know how to say the author's name, but I did a full video on that book, so if you're interested I will leave the link to it down below. I was disappointed with that book, to be honest. I thought it was not the best book to start with my random book series. It's one of the chances that the book that I pick up randomly from the library would be a book that I wouldn't enjoy as much, and I realized that I don't like books about commune of people believing in weird things. This is the kind of book that is not for me, and I gave this book 2 stars because it was that book about a commune of people believing in weird things, and I was so confused in the beginning. I didn't particularly like the book, and I gave it 2 stars, which might be a little bit more generous than I should have rated it. But the next book that I read was Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan, the 3rd book from the Percy Jackson series. I enjoyed this book. I gave this book 4 stars. I quite liked it. Again, all of the adventures, even though I thought at the end of book 2 something happened, and I thought they would make a bigger deal about that, if that makes any sense. And I was a bit, not disappointed, but a bit kind of disappointed at the beginning of the book because it was just like it went smoothly and that's it. I expected something a little bit bigger, a little bit more, I don't know how to explain it. a little bit more things happening because of what happened in the book too. So, but that being said, I still gave it 4 stars and I thought it was quite a good book and interesting as usual and humorous. So I'm going to still continue on with the series. Another book that I read was another buddy read, and this time I was reading a book with Georgina from Georgina Reads, which I absolutely love her channel. She's an absolutely wonderful person, so I will leave the link to her channel down below. You should definitely check her out. The book that we were reading was called Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. I usually struggle with pronouncing the author's names. It was a very short book about these children who went to different worlds and now they're back to reality and no one believes them and stuff like that, and there's a school for these children who went to those worlds, and they go to that school trying to come to terms with the reality and things like that. I thought the premise of the book sounded really interesting, and it was definitely an interesting book. It appeared to be a mystery kind of book, and I didn't know that before going into it. I gave this book 3 stars. I'm not sure why. I didn't quite connect to it. It was definitely an unusual read. I've never read anything like it before, and yeah, but I'm not going to continue on with this series. I just have no interest in it, to be honest. But I had so much fun doing a buddy read with Georgina, even though it was a very short one because the book is very short. But yeah, hopefully we will do another one soon. The last book that I finished in September, the one that I started reading on my birthday on the 9th of September, was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. This was my first time reading the book in English, and I thought it would be a completely different experience. I thought I might not understand some bits or not enjoy it as much for some reason, but no. But actually it brought so much more to the story for me because I was reading it in its original language. I felt closer to the story somehow, maybe because it's set in England, and obviously I live in England now. I loved it a lot and I gave this book 5 stars. And I think after rereading this one, I think that Philosopher's Stone is my favorite book from the series because it is the most magical one, the most cute one, the cutest one, and not dark as some of the other books from the series later on in the series. And I absolutely love the cover of this one. It is probably my favorite cover from the whole 7 books from in this edition, if not ever, because I love purple. Purple is my favorite color, and it looks so nice, and there's an owl on the back. And it's all with the stars and things. I love how it looks from the inside. Absolutely gorgeous book. I also started a couple of books in September, but I'm not going to mention them now because hopefully they will be in my October wrap up. Let me know down in the comments if you read any of the books that I mentioned, what you thought of them, and what was your favorite book of the month of September. Thank you for watching. Bye!